Thanks for joining us for another TPRM Explained by the Third Party Risk Association, an educational series focused on topics related to third-party risk management. A question many third-party risk management and vendor management professionals often find themselves asking is, how do we work in a cohesive, organized way to sufficiently mitigate third-party risk while enabling the business to move forward with third-party relationships? Keep watching to find out as we discuss integrated TPRM business processes, enabling the business while mitigating third-party risk. This month's video was made possible by Tom Rogers, CEO and founder of Vendor-Centric, for his presentation at TPRA's July 2022 Practitioner Member Meeting. To watch the full presentation, TPRA members can visit our previous meeting page and navigate to the July 2022 meeting recording. In this video, we will cover the common goals and challenges to integrating TPRM processes across the organization, provide a TPRM lifecycle-based framework that enables better integration of people, processes, and systems, 4 tips for improving process integration with business stakeholders, and key aspects of TPRM governance needed to make integration work. Let's begin with goals and challenges with TPRM process integration. When bringing in a new third party, the end goal in its simplest form is to optimize the relationship between the business and the third party. At the end of the day, we engage in third-party relationships to gain value from their products and services, as well as support business owners in reaching their day-to-day objectives. But with the use of third-party products and services comes additional risk to the organization. How can we better enable the business while mitigating third-party risk? Integrating TPRM into business processes can be a challenge. The business is usually concerned with speed to market and may not understand why certain third-party risk due diligence efforts are needed. In addition, once risk is found, the business may not agree with or feel it is a high enough risk to warrant additional efforts to mitigate said risk. In the beginning phase of integration, it is important to have open lines of communication and be transparent about what due diligence efforts are needed and why you ask for certain evidence items from the third party. This ensures the business has a clearer understanding of where the third party risk may lie and what next steps are needed. They may even help you champion certain discussions if they better understand the risk, as well as the support your team has from executives within your organization. To assist with integration, let's look at what is needed from a pre-contract due diligence standpoint. Number 1, understand what inherent risks exist. As your organization enters into a new third-party relationship, what are the inherent risks, or risks before controls are considered, that the third party is potentially bringing into the business? Understanding those potential risks will drive your due diligence efforts. Number 2, evaluate controls and mitigate residual risks. After inherent risk is determined, it is then time to evaluate the controls the third party has in place to mitigate the inherent risk. Findings that come from testing these controls determine the residual risk of a third party. Action plans should then be established with the third party to mitigate said residual risk. If risk cannot be mitigated, then risk must either be accepted at the appropriate level within your organization, or you may determine that it is too risky to move forward with the relationship. Number 3, monitor for new risks and ensure remediation is effective. Once the relationship is established, it is important to continuously monitor the risk of your third party. Therefore, it is vital to implement continuous monitoring activities to evaluate third-party risk on an ongoing basis. In this phase, it is key to use a risk-based approach and not treat every vendor the same. This will ensure a long-lasting relationship, while also addressing third-party risk at the highest level. Number 4, ensure risk is mitigated even when the relationship is coming to an end. It is important to continue with risk mitigation efforts even when you are terminating a third-party relationship. You want to ensure a smooth transition away from the third party, while also ensuring all of your organization's data the third party house is appropriately handled, either returned and/or destroyed. This can be accomplished through a strong exit strategy, including an offboarding checklist, as well as the acceptance of a certificate of destruction. These TPRM lifecycle steps can be summarized using this chart. From planning and oversight, to pre-contract due diligence, to contract review, to continuous monitoring, and finally to disengagement, all of which are encompassed by and in support of continuous improvement. But how do you effectively integrate these TPRM processes into business processes without becoming a bottleneck? Let's look at some tips you can implement to ensure smooth integration. First, determine what the business wants from the third-party relationship. Some immediate needs of the business may include, but not be limited to start working with the third party immediately, speed to market, as in they have a project that has a tight deadline, security concerns they need to address will be mitigated by the onboarding of the new third party, and reaching a niche market. Long story short, the business wants to know how they can make implementation happen as quickly as possible, and sometimes this means they are willing to circumvent certain processes. This is especially true if they do not have a clear understanding of why a process exists in the first place. Some of the activities you can participate in to ensure integration into the business process is to help your business understand why certain processes exist and what the steps are to reach the business's ultimate goal, gain a better understanding of the relationship between the business and third party, and work within the context of the existing relationship. This means work with your business in obtaining what you need from the third party. If the relationship is strained, then find ways to communicate with the third party as effectively and efficiently as possible. The business, as well as the third party, want as little effort and disruption as possible. Make sure you know what you want to ask the third party and only ask what is needed of them. Do not reach out 100 times because you did not include everything within your first request. This also provides your business with trust in what you are requesting because they know you will only ask what is needed. As a relationship is ending, the business owner has other things they need to tend to, so they'll want the relationship closed out as quickly as possible. There are still activities which need to happen on the back end of the relationship, such as data returned and/or destroyed appropriately. If the third party will maintain data, then security reviews are required until the data is returned and/or destroyed. While the business owner recognizes those necessary activities, they may not always want to put energy into them. To alleviate this step, ensure you think through termination and create an exit strategy before the contract is signed during the pre-contract phase. This ensures a smooth transition away from the third party on the back end of the relationship. In short, there are processes you can put in place to help the business better understand why TPRM exists, the importance of your team, and what is required in order for you to perform your reviews and mitigate risk. It is also important that you work with the business in better understanding their goals and objectives, as well as timelines. Open communication is key throughout the TPRM process, as well as setting expectations up front. If this is done correctly, the business can ultimately become a champion for TPRM and more readily assist you with your review process. TPRM challenges with the rest of the team. Keep in mind, the TPRM team does not just work with business owners. They also work with other stakeholders to ensure risk decisions are made at the right level, as well as ensure legal and regulatory processes are met. Let's look at some examples of additional stakeholders and how TPRM can work with each. Procurement. This team is responsible for bringing in new third parties or renewing current contracts. They are the gatekeepers for third-party relationships. TPRM will want to integrate into procurement process so they can 1. Be notified when new third-party relationships are formed, and can adequately review said relationships and third-party controls before contracts are signed, and 2. Review contract red lines that relate to security or other third-party risks. This way, they can ensure the contract has set the right level of expectations with regard to what controls the third party must have implemented. Redlining the contract can also ensure TPRM is able to review the third party on an ongoing basis. Compliance. This team ensures the organization is appropriately following regulations and meeting compliance objectives. TPRM will want to work with this team to ensure their third parties are also meeting regulatory compliance objectives. Compliance can also assist TPRM in determining what regulations should be followed for offshore resources. Legal. This team works through contract templates and ensures agreements can be held up within a court of law. TPRM can work with this team to develop contract templates and addendums, which are crucial to ensuring you get the most out of your third-party relationship. Other operational teams. Depending on how your TPRM program is set up, centralized versus decentralized, there may be other teams TPRM works with to accomplish specific pieces of their reviews. For example, they may work with a finance team to review the financials of a higher-risk vendor. TPRM should be aware of the current workload of these teams and strategically request reviews for higher-risk vendors so as not to overload other operational teams. Getting everyone on the same page. We've talked about why working with other teams is important, but how can everyone get on the same page with regards to TPRM expectations? Whether your TPRM program is centralized or decentralized, there are a few things that need to be in place to ensure TPRM activities are integrated into business and key stakeholder processes. Ensure you have the support of your executives. This is crucial for ensuring processes are followed. Develop business and stakeholder champions. Determine who makes the decisions within your organization and ensure they are on your side with regards to TPRM implementation. This can greatly increase your chances for success when integrating TPRM processes into the business, as the loudest and most important decision makers agree with your approach and share that agreement with others. Ensure that everyone has a seat at the table. This allows all necessary players to be heard, provide input, and agree to TPRM processes. Develop a strong TPRM policy, as well as procedures, and ensure it aligns with your TPRM framework. This ensures everyone is aware of the process and can follow appropriately. Develop a risk committee. Now that your TPRM program is set up, ensuring risks are reviewed at the right level is the next step. You do not want the business accepting high risk on behalf of the organization. Therefore, this committee can help you determine the next steps in your risk mitigation efforts. Developing RACEs. To clarify roles and responsibilities of the different stakeholder groups. This helps to not only break out what the different activities are, but to also ensure the different stakeholders are aligned in their roles in the process. Align oversight and reporting, KPIs and/or KRIs, to create holistic governance and accountability for managing third parties. Perform periodic assessments and testing to ensure processes are working as designed. And this last one is optional. Automate for better transparency and process integration. Systems should have the ability to automatically notify relevant stakeholders when an action needs to be taken. There are many ways to integrate TPRM activities into business processes to enable the business while also mitigating risk. With so many moving parts and areas of focus, it is important to facilitate open communication between stakeholders and connect as many activities, processes, and systems as possible to ensure consistency and the most effective and efficient risk mitigation performance possible. Utilizing a TPRM framework can help streamline and provide consistency within the TPRM program, while also mitigating risk more effectively. Third-party risk affects every area of a business and therefore should be integrated accordingly. Thanks for watching. This has been Integrated TPRM Business Processes, Enabling the Business While Mitigating Third-Party Risk. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and a comment below, share with your friends and peers, and subscribe for more videos by the TPRA. Remember to follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, and check out our website to learn how you can join the TPRA Third-Party Risk Management Practitioner community. TPRM Explained is an educational series which focuses on topics related to third-party risk management. Topics come directly from our end-of-year survey on the pain points our practitioners are experiencing within their own programs.